Hi everyone, I'm Alyssa Willis and I teach in West Milford for the multiple disabilities class for kindergarten through fifth grade. So my classroom is all encompassing with different academic and social, emotional, behavioral levels, and the gap is wide. So in regards to my fail in the beginning of the shutdown, I absolutely felt that I expected students to be able to use technology that I had never taught them. So that was not successful for me. I first sent home packets and realizing that my classroom, we've known each other potentially. I've known them since they were in kindergarten all the way up to fifth grade. So we are such a connected family, and expecting them to be able to be successful using just paper and pencil is not going to work for them. So I realized I needed to make a shift, and I ended up looking into finding ways to do Google Meets, Flipgrid videos, creating short videos like this to be able to have them look at, learn from, maybe send their own videos back to show their learning. I use Google Classroom as a platform to be able to assign work and also to grade, check, communicate with my students, and I use Zoom for even a virtual field trip to a zoo, which all sounds great if I realized that they were savvy in it, which was not the case. So at that point, it was a fail. When I look, though, now into what my sale was, it was really that I have been able to learn that each student and parent that is with that student is going to need that training that in Jennifer Gonzalez's podcast, where she was speaking to Melanie Kitchen about the differences and similarities between online learning and face-to-face learning, and that parent tech training, and especially that student tech training, it has to be there in order for there to be success. So when I'm teaching them what they need to do in order to be successful, I am finding much more success both towards the end of the spring last year and even now in the fall, because we are both in person and have some students that are virtual as well. So I also am providing various avenues to learn. That's something that trying to make it accessible for every student, where I have Google Meets, I have videos that I'll post that they can then learn at their own pace, pencil and paperwork, trying to find what works for each student when we have such varying needs and abilities is helping in that sale type of moment. When I look back at Flanagan and Knapp's article, and it was talking about different ways to make online learning successful, and it talked about show and tell, which is something that we have been doing, where sure, it looks different on a K-5 level, but when I compare it to a college level class, not the same. However, show and tell creates that bond, it creates that engagement and wanting to connect with one another and get connected to what we've been learning. That's the core goal in that. So that has been a really nice avenue. I've also been doing small and individual groups as well as whole group lessons. So trying to find different avenues to make sure they're learning, make sure they're connected with one another, and keeping that family vibe that is so important to us. I also looked at Bugaji's text as well, and expecting success. So I expect success when we're doing all of these different modes of learning, but I also want more. I want them to give me as much as they can and push themselves as hard as they can. And I'm trying to use things like Flipgrid and Google Classroom, which is free and accessible for my students because they all have been given a Chromebook to use at home. So we might have some issues with tech. So there are still a few fail moments happening with glitches and some moments of like, I don't know how to use this. But we're really finding ways to have more sales successful moments, which is really been nice. Not perfect by any means, but it is so much better than what it was come, the March shutdown time. So when I really think about what I've learned at this point is how to use technology and how that learning happens at a different pace. So when I watched Todd Rose's video about the end of average and how learning happens at a different pace for each student, I'm learning that that happens for both the students who are using this new technology and this new way of learning and the parents. And I'm also learning to explore new ways to access and show their work, which has been really exciting. And I hope to learn more as this course continues.